Success doesn't start when the money arrives. It doesn't begin the day you get the title, the car, or the recognition. Success starts the moment you decide to embody it. Before the world sees it, you have to feel it. Before the world claps for you, you have to believe in yourself so loudly there's no room left for doubt. Let me tell you something powerful. The world doesn't respond to who you are. It responds to who you believe you are. If you want to change your life, change your identity. Walk, talk, breathe like the person you're becoming, not the one you're leaving behind. Success isn't something you chase. It's something you step into. Success doesn't begin with an event, an accolade, or a bank balance. It begins internally with identity. Most people believe that they have to make it before they can claim the mindset, confidence, or lifestyle that comes with success. But that belief is backward. The truth is, the foundation of success is built long before the world ever sees it. You must adopt the mindset of the person you want to become long before the physical results show up. Who you believe you are dictates what you're willing to do, how you carry yourself, and how the world responds to you. When you choose to see yourself as already successful, you begin to move differently. You no longer approach challenges with hesitation. You face them with certainty. Your decisions stop coming from fear and start coming from clarity. That shift in mindset is everything. Success is not about waiting for validation. It's about showing up as if the outcome is already yours, because when you do that, you begin to align your thoughts, energy, and actions with your future, not your current reality. The person who wins is not necessarily the one with more talent or resources. It's the one who mentally arrives at their destination before the journey is complete. This shift doesn't require delusion. It requires discipline. You're not pretending to be someone you're not. You're choosing to become more of who you really are. That internal decision redefines how you interact with the world. You no longer negotiate your worth. You no longer settle for less. You operate from a place of ownership and confidence because you've already chosen to see yourself as someone who has made it. That's where transformation begins, not in your circumstances, but in your sense of identity. Most people delay their greatness by waiting for external proof before they allow themselves to believe. But greatness is born in the unseen moments when you choose to believe before you have any reason to. That belief is magnetic. It draws in people, opportunities, and momentum, not because you have it all figured out, but because you radiate the energy of someone who knows they're on the path. That energy is powerful. People feel it when you walk into a room. They hear it in your voice. They see it in the way you carry yourself. If you wait to feel successful until success shows up, you'll never get there. You'll always be one step behind your own dream. But when you reverse that order, when you start thinking, acting, and deciding as though your success is already real, you create the conditions for it to manifest. You set a new standard. You make different choices. You stop chasing outcomes and start creating alignment. That's how success is built from the inside out, not from effort alone, but from identity. When you redefine who you are, everything else begins to fall into place. The mindset of I already am replaces the fear of what if I'm not? And that mindset changes everything. The world doesn't respond to your credentials, your qualifications, or your background as much as it responds to your energy, your self-belief, and the way you carry yourself. Confidence is often mistaken for arrogance, but the truth is, confidence is simply certainty in who you are and where you're headed. And that certainty is magnetic. People gravitate toward those who seem sure of themselves, even when they can't yet prove why. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about owning the vision of who you are becoming even when others can't see it yet. There are countless stories of individuals who broke through barriers not because they had the most experience, but because they had the strongest belief in themselves. They walked into rooms like they belonged there. They spoke with conviction, not because they knew every answer, but because they trusted in their ability to figure it out. That kind of presence creates opportunities. It opens doors that credentials alone can't. People feel your energy before they hear your words. And if you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? Confidence is the unspoken language of leadership. It's what separates those who are remembered from those who are overlooked. You might have the most impressive resume, the highest degrees, or the most polished portfolio, but if you don't walk into a room like you belong in it, none of it matters. The world mirrors back to you what you show it. Show doubt, and you'll be met with hesitation. Show belief, and you'll be met with trust. It's not about being loud or boastful. It's about being grounded in who you are and where you're going. When you start carrying yourself like someone who's already won, people treat you differently. They respect your time, they take your ideas seriously, and they listen when you speak. Not because of a title on your business card, but because of the unshakable tone in your voice. That tone doesn't come from external validation, it comes from internal alignment. It comes from deciding that you are enough, that you are capable, and that you're on a path that matters. Once you believe that fully, your presence shifts. You no longer wait to be invited. You walk in like you were always meant to be there. We're trained to think that we need permission to step into our power, that someone has to hand us a role, a stage, or an opportunity. But the truth is, the moment you start carrying yourself with confidence, you create those spaces for yourself. Confidence is contagious. It inspires others to believe in you, and more importantly, it reinforces your own belief in yourself. Every time you choose to show up boldly, you strengthen your identity. You prove to yourself that you don't need proof to move forward. You don't need everyone's agreement to take the next step. All you need is the decision to believe that who you are right now is enough to start. Momentum is the invisible force behind every breakthrough, and it begins the moment you start acting as if the outcome is already yours. Acting as if is not about pretending or playing a role. It's about embodying the mindset, habits, and behaviors of the person you are becoming. The moment you choose to align your actions with the belief that your success is inevitable, you set a powerful energy in motion. You stop hesitating, overthinking, and waiting for permission. You start taking steps that move you forward, no matter how small they are. Each of those steps builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. When you act as if your goals are already unfolding, your focus shifts. You begin to prioritize differently. You stop wasting time on distractions and start investing energy in things that matter. That energy compounds. It creates clarity and direction. People around you begin to notice your drive, and opportunities start to show up, not because the universe suddenly changes, but because you changed. You started showing up with purpose, and that consistency begins to create results. Acting as if shifts you out of passive hope and into intentional movement. Most people wait for evidence before they commit. They want proof that something will work before they give it their full energy. But growth doesn't work that way. Results don't show up before the work. Belief has to lead. Acting as if is what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It turns vision into movement, and movement, no matter how uncertain or unpolished, generates progress. That progress fuels your belief even more, and before you know it, you've built momentum that's hard to stop. Momentum doesn't come from one big decision. It comes from 1,000 small ones. It comes from waking up every day and deciding to live like your future self. From choosing courage over comfort, clarity over confusion, and movement over stagnation. When you act as if, you rewire your brain to expect results. You create a new pattern of behavior, one that is aligned with success. That pattern becomes your new normal. What once felt like a stretch becomes part of your routine. What once felt impossible becomes expected. People often look at those who are ahead and think they had some kind of advantage. But often, the only advantage they had was momentum. They moved early. They didn't wait to feel ready. They acted on belief, not evidence. That's the hidden power of acting as if. It speeds up your timeline by changing your posture, your energy, and your decisions. And once you've built even a little momentum, it gets easier to keep going. You start to crave the progress. You start to trust yourself more. And you begin to realize that you're capable of more than you thought, not because you arrived at some magical place, but because you decided to act like you were already on your way. You're not faking it, you're faithing it. There's a big difference between pretending to be someone you're not and believing so strongly in your future that you begin to live it now. Faithing it means you're stepping into your potential with conviction. Not because you have all the answers, but because you trust in your ability to grow, adapt, and figure it out. It's not about deception, it's about vision. It's about choosing to believe in what isn't visible yet, because deep down you know it's real, you know it's possible. And more than that, you know it's yours. People often misinterpret confidence as arrogance when they don't understand the difference between faith and facade. But faith doesn't need to shout. Faith moves with quiet certainty. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't require outside validation. It simply acts. Faithing it means you show up before the doors are open. You prepare before the opportunity arrives. You build before anyone is watching. It means you don't need to wait for applause to begin performing. You don't need confirmation to commit. You don't need proof to proceed. You just need belief strong enough to carry you through the silence. When you faith it, your energy changes. You walk differently. You speak differently. You approach your work with a sense of purpose that isn't easily shaken. Even when you're surrounded by doubt, even when the results are slow to appear, you keep showing up. That consistency becomes your advantage. Most people give up because they expect instant results. But faith teaches you to keep planting seeds, trusting that the harvest will come. It gives you the patience to stay the course and the strength to endure the process. Faithing, it also means being willing to look a little crazy to the outside world. It means showing up to that meeting like you already belong at the table, even if your name's not on the door yet. It means launching the project, speaking the vision, and taking the risk when it still feels early. To others, it may seem bold or unrealistic, but to you, it's alignment. You're not driven by what's in front of you, you're driven by what's inside you. That internal compass doesn't rely on external circumstances. It follows something deeper, something rooted. The truth is, everyone who's ever accomplished something meaningful had to step into the unknown before the outcome was guaranteed. They had to choose to act with belief, not because they were certain of the timeline, but because they were certain of the destination. They didn't fake it, they faithed it. They lived in the gap between where they were and where they were going with courage, vision, and resilience. They knew that faith isn't blind, it sees further than the eyes. It sees what could be and moves as though it already is. That kind of mindset isn't about fooling anyone, it's about freeing yourself from the limits of fear, hesitation, and self-doubt. It allows you to move faster, trust deeper, and step into opportunities before they're fully formed. Your energy must match your goals. The way you think, speak, and carry yourself should reflect the level of success you're aiming to reach. Too often, people say they want something big but move with the energy of someone hoping not to fail. That kind of misalignment creates resistance. You can't attract abundance while thinking like someone who's just trying to survive. You can't expect extraordinary outcomes while showing up with average effort, average belief, and average habits. Energy is everything. It sets the tone before you say a word. It speaks louder than credentials, louder than experience, and sometimes even louder than skill. When your energy aligns with your goals, you stop second-guessing your decisions. You start to make choices from a place of clarity and confidence. You invest your time with intention. You show up in rooms not just physically present, but mentally and emotionally locked in. You're not waiting for permission, waiting to be noticed, or waiting for a sign. You become the sign. Your presence communicates that you're serious, that you're already walking in the direction of success, and that you're prepared to do what it takes. Matching your energy to your goals doesn't mean being busy all the time or constantly pushing yourself to the edge. It means being aligned. It means understanding that everything you do, from how you start your morning to how you speak about your vision, is either reinforcing your success or delaying it. There's no neutral energy when it comes to growth. You're either elevating your frequency or lowering your standard. The person you want to become already operates at a certain level. They have standards, routines, boundaries, and clarity. If you want their results, you need to start living by their code. People can feel when your energy is real. They can sense when you're operating with intention versus when you're trying to convince yourself. When you walk into a room with the energy of someone who knows where they're going, you shift the space. You don't need to brag or overcompensate. Your certainty speaks for you. You don't need to chase your energy attracts. This is why mindset and presence are non-negotiable. You might not control the timing of your success, but you absolutely control how you show up for it. And that showing up determines how quickly it arrives. Your goals require a certain version of you, one that isn't casual about their purpose, one that doesn't just talk about ambition but lives it daily. You can't expect life-changing results from half-hearted energy. You have to train your mindset to move like it's already done. You have to rehearse greatness in private long before it's ever acknowledged in public. Your energy must be elevated, focused, and intentional, not once in a while, but consistently. That's how you build alignment between who you are and what you want. That's how you shrink the gap between vision and reality. Every day you choose to match your energy to your goals, you create momentum, clarity, and undeniable power. The mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, and that's where your power begins. What you consistently visualize, feel, and act on becomes your truth. The brain is wired to follow the dominant thoughts you feed it. And when you act as if your success is already real, you start rewiring your subconscious to support that vision. You begin to train your mind to expect success, to anticipate growth, and to see opportunities instead of obstacles. This internal shift doesn't require your circumstances to change first. It requires you to create the experience of success mentally, emotionally, and physically before it arrives in your external world. When you visualize yourself succeeding, you start preparing for it. Your actions begin to mirror that mental picture. You develop the habits, the discipline, and the focus of someone who already has what they want. You stop approaching your goals with uncertainty because in your mind you've already crossed the finish line. Your energy becomes consistent with the outcome you desire. This isn't about fantasy or wishful thinking. It's about giving your brain a new blueprint to follow. The clearer and more consistent the vision, the more your subconscious works to make it your reality. This is why top performers in every field, from athletes to entrepreneurs, use visualization. They don't just hope for success, they rehearse it. They see themselves winning. They feel the experience in their body. They walk through the steps in their mind until it becomes second nature. Their brain doesn't see it as an idea, it sees it as something that's already happening. This mental rehearsal reduces doubt and increases certainty. It creates a deep sense of familiarity with success, and that familiarity leads to confidence. Confidence isn't just a feeling, it's a product of preparation. And preparation doesn't always have to start with action. It can begin with intention, with thought, with focused imagination. When you imagine yourself succeeding over and over again, your brain starts forming new connections. It begins filtering the world differently. You start noticing things that align with your goals. You recognize opportunities that were always there but invisible when your mindset was limited. Your actions shift from reactive to proactive because you're no longer operating from a place of maybe, you're moving from a place of already. This is where your internal world becomes your competitive advantage. Most people wait until they see results before they feel successful. But if you can feel it now, believe it now, and act on it now, the results become inevitable. You're not waiting for the world to give you permission, you're giving yourself the psychological foundation to succeed. The mind doesn't care whether the experience is physical or imagined. It responds to repetition, emotion, and belief. If you see success in your mind often enough, your body starts to follow. Your decisions start to change. Your confidence grows. Your energy rises. Everything about you begins to reflect the person who already has what they want, and that's when the world begins to respond in kind.